Hi guys, my name is Ben Danielski and I'm doing my presentation on the poem As I Walked Out One Evening by W.H. Auden. As I walked out one evening, walking down Bristol Street, the crowds upon the pavement were fields of harvest wheat, and down by the brimming river I heard a lover sing, under an arch of the railway, love has no ending. I'll love you, dear, I'll love you, till China and Africa meet, and the river jumps over the mountain, and the salmon sing in the street. I'll love you till the ocean is folded and hung up to dry, and the seven stars go squawking like geese about the sky. The years shall run like rabbits, for in my arms I hold the flower of the ages, and the first love of the world. But all the clocks in the city began to whir and chime. Oh, let not time deceive you, you cannot conquer time. In the burrows of the nightmare, where justice naked is, time watches from the shadow, and coughs when you would kiss. In headaches and in worry, vaguely life leaks away, and time will have its fancy tomorrow or today. Into many a green valley drifts the appalling snow. Time breaks the threaded dances, and the diver's brilliant bow. Oh, plunge your hands in water, plunge them in up to the wrists. Stare, stare in the basin, and wonder what you've missed. The glacier knocks in the cupboard, the desert sighs in the bed, and the crack in the teacup opens, a lane to the land of the dead, where the beggars raffle the banknotes, and the giant is enchanting to Jack, and the lily white boy is a roar, and Jill goes down on her back. Oh, look, look in the mirror. Oh, look in your distress. Life remains a blessing, although you cannot bless. Oh, stand, stand at the window, as the tears scald and start. You shall love your crooked neighbor with your crooked heart. It was late, late in the evening. The lovers, they were gone. The clocks had ceased their chiming, and the deep river ran on. So, an overview of the poem. It was written in 1940 by Wystan Hugh Auden, who is commonly known as W.H. Auden for short. He was born in York, England in 1907. This is a 15-stanza poem with 4 lines in each and 60 lines in total. The poem takes place on Bristol Street, likely in Birmingham, England, where he grew up. And now, the analysis. In lines 1 through 4, the poem establishes the setting, Bristol Street, and introduces the time of day, evening. The speaker also gives us a visual of what the busy street looks like at the end of the stanza. In lines 5 through 8, the speaker arrives at the brimming river. He hears of 2 lovers talking over, and quote, an arch of the railway. This arch resembles that of a huge door to a cathedral or the gate of heaven. The 2 lovers believe that their love will keep them together, since love has no ending. In lines 9 through 16, the speaker eavesdrops over them and listens to their promises, one of which is the survival of their love, in that it will last until Africa and Asia collide. In lines 17 through 19, the lover asserts that the years will pass as fast as rabbits, in this case saying the years will hop by fast. These lines mark the end of the lovers' dialogue, which is cut short by the city bells. In lines 20 through 24, all the clocks in the city begin to whir and chime. Auden gives the clocks human voices. He inserts allegory, which is the using of abstract concepts like time and justice as if they were characters. No matter how much the lovers love each other, it is not going to save them from their own morality. Moving on to lines 25 through 32. The poem reminds us that we are not going to live forever. Time reminds us that the day we are born is the first day counting down to our deaths. In line 31, the word fancy means death itself, which could strike at any moment, including today or even tomorrow. In lines 33 through 40, the poem returns back to the cycle of the seasons, in that the snow from the winter makes the hills white, the same color of an old man's hair, or the pale face of the sick and dying. The clocks in the poem seem to scold the arrogance of the lovers. Time instructs the lovers to plunge their hands in wake. This is a symbolic act of cleansing, similar to that of baptism. Time reminds the lovers to not only look forward, but to also look back. In lines 41 through 48, the tone shifts in the next two stanzas to almost a fairy tale type. Images like glaciers knocking into a cupboard and a desert sighing in a bed are very absurd. The tone shifts again to a childlike voice. In lines 49 through 52, time commands that the lovers look in the mirror, to look inside themselves and discover who they really are. Time wants them to see their fallen status. We are all mortals and not in control of time. As a matter of fact, we are prisoners of it. In the final lines of the poem returns the reader back to the two lovers near the river. The bells stop chiming. It's possible that only a few hours have passed since the narrator states at the end, it was late in the evening. The bells interpret the lows, but in brief, the chiming of the narrator hears the underlying meaning of the moment. The clock is ticking, and no matter what the lovers say, their time on earth is limited. Now, some wise words from me. In my personal opinion, the poem is a dark one at that. It starts out with two lovers, who are in this case loving life, but the clocks and time in general will soon catch up to them. The poem takes a real depressing turn in that it reminds us that life isn't forever and that we all will one day die. Some major themes found in the poem include time, death, and the cycle of life. Time is a theme of the poem because of the two lovers' promises to love each other until the day they die. But as we know, time will soon catch up to them. There's also symbolism in this poem. Auden uses water imagery, for example, the brimming river. Rivers often represent the movement or passage of time. Auden also uses man-made versus natural imagery too. An example of this is the words in lines 2 and 4, the words street and wheat. In this case, the word street is from the man-made realm, while the word wheat is decidedly natural. Both are used in the same location in the poem. Now, literary devices. This poem is littered with literary devices, most of which are in the first couple stanzas. First, we have alliteration, and for those who don't know what that is, it is the occurrence of the same letter or sound at the beginning, middle, or end of closely connected words. Examples of alliteration include salmon sing in the street, in line 12. The S's at the beginning of the word reoccur. Another example of this includes distress, blessings, and bless, in lines 50 to 52, in that the double S's are located either at the end or in the middle of these closely connected words. Next, we have metaphors, which are a figure of speech, in which a word or phrase is applied to an object that is not literally applicable. In the first stanza, lines 3 through 4, we have the crowds upon the pavement were fields of harvest wheat. By comparing the crowds of people to fields of wheat, Auden is saying that the fields of wheat are the crowds of people, and the cutting down of the wheat is symbolic for our own doom. Next we have hyperbole, which is the exaggerated statement or claim not meant to be taken literally. An example of this is, I'll love you till the ocean is folded and hung dry, in lines 13 through 14. Then there's personification, which is attributing human characteristics to something non-human. An example of this can be found in the third stanza. I'll love you, dear. I'll love you till China and Africa meet, and the river jumps over the mountain, and the salmon sing in the street. We know that the continents will never meet. Rivers don't jump over mountains, and salmon will never sing in the street. The lover is saying, in short, that their love will endure until the end of time. And then there's simile, a figure of speech involving the comparison of one thing with another thing of a different kind. In lines 17 through 20, an example of this is, "The years shall run like rabbits, for in my arms I hold the flowers of the ages, and the first love of the world." In this, time becomes insignificant. Ogden is trying to portray that time flies, or, in this case, hops, when you're having a good time or in love. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you have a great day.